You're watching InTechnology, a video cast where you can get smarter about cybersecurity, sustainability, and technology. Here are your hosts, Tom Garrison and Camille Morehart.
Today, our guest is Dr. Wayne Visser. He is author of 41 books, including most recently Thriving, the Breakthrough Movement to Regenerate Nature, Society, and the Economy. He's a Cambridge pracademic, writer, and speaker on thriving, regeneration, sustainable transformation, and integrated value. His work has taken him to 77 countries. Wow. Welcome to the podcast, Wayne.
Thanks so much, Tom. It's a great pleasure to be with you both.
Yeah. So first, let's get it out of the way. What is a pracademic?
Well, it's a practical academic. It's somebody who remembers that ivory towers don't help the world very much. And so some might say it's a way to not be fully respected by either academia or practice, but it's a line that I've trod for many years, trying to always apply theory or conceptual thinking to practice by working with companies.
And before we get too far down into the conversation, you know, there's so much that's always being said around sustainability and companies that are marketing themselves as sustainable this or sustainable that, but without a real clear definition of what is sustainability. So can you give us your definition of what sustainability is?
Yeah, it's interesting that after more than 35 years since it was officially defined by the United Nations, the so-called Brundtland definition, that we're still not clear, right? And that's evident in all the conversations I have with people in business and elsewhere. But my definition is quite simple. It's how we turn breakdowns into breakthroughs through market opportunities to regenerate nature, society, and the economy. In a sense, that goes a little beyond what most would understand as sustainability of just being able to endure, but we have to aim higher than surviving, right? We have to aim for thriving. And that means that not only do we have to take care of the impact, the damage that we've done, but we also have to repair, restore, and revitalize that.
One of the things that you mention in one of the many articles that you've written is convergence, where you're talking about a bunch of different kind of tipping points and thresholds coming together at once. And you claim, I think, in that article that we are undergoing that right now. Can you say a little bit more about what that is and what different arms it entails and evolves?
What do you need to get to in order to have a tipping point? And some of the research that's been done suggests that in any random group, you only need between 5 and 25% of that group moving together in a unified direction to sway the whole group. In fact, they've done experiments even with humans moving around in a random crowd. This is based on the phenomenon of flocking that we see in nature. Beautiful word for that, murmuration. So the point is, we don't have to get to 50%. We don't have to persuade everybody. What we need is to link up those influential minorities and for them to start to reinforce one another. And then it ripples through the system and you get those convergences and you get the tipping points. You know, I lived through the transition in South Africa to take a different angle on this, from apartheid, discriminatory system, to democracy. You know, it took a 40-year fight full of blood and, you know, really nasty struggle for that freedom. And so it wasn't easy and it wasn't quick. But when the change happened, the whole thing happened in about 5 years. Very, very rapid. And that's how systems change. You get lots and lots of resistance. You don't think anything is changing, but things are accumulating in the system like a flywheel. And then it reaches that tipping point. And the interesting thing is, once it does, then that, what in innovation terms we sometimes call the early majority and the late majority and the laggards, they flip with the system because nobody wants to be an outlier. We are social animals and we want to fit in. And so when the system changes, everybody changes with it.
I think that's such a great visual, the whole sort of murmuration, and I'm envisioning sort of, the birds flocking around in those amazing patterns as a great analogy to hopefully what's going to happen when it comes to sustainability. Wayne, I'd like to thank you for coming today onto the podcast and talking to us, educating us on what is sustainability and how we can expect that things will evolve over time. So it's a complicated topic. I feel like we could talk about it for a much, much longer period of time, but thank you very much. Your insights were very valuable.
Well, thanks for having me. And I hope that at least we got across the idea that this is an exciting time to be alive. I mean, we are coming with many of the solutions, and many of those solutions are through technology if we pay attention. And so we're in shortage of hope right now, but we have every reason to be hopeful if we understand how change is happening and how fast it's happening.
Never miss an episode of InTechnology by following us here on YouTube or wherever you get your audio podcasts.
The views and opinions expressed are those of the guests and author and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Intel Corporation.